Hello, beautiful sacred souls. In this video, I'm going to explore how to have embodied presence without hierarchy, awakening through relationships, not authority. In many spiritual traditions or in many healing traditions, you might hear phrases such as, when you're ready, the master teacher will find you, or your therapist knows what's best, or any number of things that imply that healing happens because of something outside of yourself. But I'm going to explore something very different, and it is at the heart of my work. Human beings do not awaken, heal, or grow through hierarchy. We do not need an external authority to tell us what is true. Although hierarchy does sometimes feel safe, my approach does integrate spiritual practices, psychology, and neuroscience. But I reject the idea that transformation requires you to submit to me as the teacher or to a specific belief system as absolute truth. Instead, I believe transformation rests on the understanding that each person already carries within themselves their innate inner wisdom, and this is through their inner compass. And that healing is the process of restoring trust in the inner compass. That's why I believe presence is a transmission, not instruction. So I don't position myself as the authority who has answers that others lack. Even though I call myself a spiritual channeler and offer energetic healings, I do it in a way that instead is embodied presence through nervous system regulation, groundedness, relational presence, and yes, channeling. From a neuroscience perspective, this matters because regulated nervous systems help with co-regulation. Safety often precedes insight. Insight without safety becomes containment, but not healing. From a psychological perspective, humans internalize relational patterns, not concepts. Secure attachment develops through attunement, not explanation. True change happens when people feel seen, not corrected. And from a spiritual perspective, truth is not transferred, it is remembered. Channeling isn't what creates the healing. It is the person's ability to connect to those own transmissions within themselves. And it is the transmission within themselves that does the healing. Presence allows people to sense their own connection to meaning, values, and aliveness. And when I say I offer energy transmissions, what I mean is I live in an embodied state of safety and clarity, and this can become a relational field where people can feel their own grounding, their own intuition, and their own truth emerge, and they can connect to mystical experiences within themselves that are deeply healing. This is not something that I give you. It is something that activates within you because it is already within you. So, what does leadership without hierarchy look like? Well, in many spiritual and psychological systems, they rely on, often unconsciously, hierarchy. The teacher is above the student. The healed is above the wounded. Enlightenment is above the unaware. My work explicitly rejects this structure because I don't believe hierarchy is healing. I believe it replicates attachment trauma. It undermines autonomy. It encourages dependency instead of integration. Instead, I try to practice leadership as companionship. I attempt to walk beside people, not ahead of them. I do not claim mastery over truth. Instead, I model relationship within truth. I do not tell people what to believe. I help them instead to notice what they already know. This approach is especially important for people who were harmed by rigid spiritual or religious systems, or learn to abandon themselves in order to belong. What does healing look like beyond containment? Well, many popular spiritual practices emphasize presence as disengagement. Observe the thought, don't identify, stay above the story. While this can be stabilizing for those that are already primarily stable, it often leads to containment rather than healing, especially for trauma survivors. And this doesn't actually lead the patterns to shift. The underlying hyperactivation still resides. My work instead teaches that presence supports integration, and that presence without integration becomes dissociation. How to know when to engage emotions rather than bypass them? Well, spiritually, psychologically, and neurobiologically, transformation happens when awareness is paired with compassion. Insight is paired with safety. This approach might be a right fit for you if you've tried quick fixes and spiritual platitudes, but you're still noticing the same symptoms arising. If you want depth without dogma, if you value autonomy and sovereignty and discernment and embodiment, if you sense truth internally but want support trusting it, if you want healing that supports real-world boundaries, agency, and nervous system sustainability, it might not be right for you if you want certainty handed to you, if you want a teacher to tell you what is true for you, if you want transcendence without integration. I have lived experience, which has become a sort of theory for me. It is not work, however, that is created from ideology. It instead emerged through a deep lived experience of how to be in my body. And that came from navigating trauma and attachment wounds. It came from me rejecting hierarchy while still seeking depth. It happened because I discovered that awakening can happen through relationships, not dominance. And I've learned to embody boundaries, self-respect, and care without collapsing or hardening. I teach what I live. I model integrity, and I invite others to do the same and their own way. And I remain in relationship with my own growth rather than positioning myself as finished. If this way of understanding healing and awakening resonates with you, you're not alone. And you don't have to walk it alone either. I invite you not to analyze, but to just feel what is happening in your body. In my work, I do offer truths and intuitive reflections. I may name what I'm sensing or noticing in your system, but I offer these not as instructions or absolute answers. Instead, they are invitations to pause, to listen inwardly, and notice what feels true for you. Your inner compass always matters most. Does it feel resonant, neutral, or off? That response is your inner guidance and wisdom. And if you'd like to continue exploring together, you can subscribe or like or comment for ongoing teachings and community. My book, The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World, offers exercises to help you experience these concepts in your own body, your own nervous system, and your own life. And if you're interested in working with me directly through courses, group spaces, or future retreats, you can learn more at blossomingheartwellness.com. Wherever you are on your path, your inner wisdom matters most. My role is simply to walk beside you, offering reflection, presence, and guidance so that you can hear yourself more clearly.